Here's something in the news that I guarantee you don't know. Campbell's Soup just admitted to violating the Clean Water Act over 5,400 times. That's right, Campbell's Soup Company has agreed not to contest any of the claims of them violating the Clean Water Act over 5,000 times in a 6.5 year period, dumping waste directly into a river that leads into Lake Erie. Now, the Clean Water Act doesn't state that there is no discharge or wastewater that is allowed to be released into waterways. It just happens to have a certain limit that you cannot go above, and the facility in Ohio just happened to go over it for the last 6.5 years. We're talking about everything from ammonia to E. coli, as well as total chlorine being released into this waterway that leads directly into Lake Erie. And if you don't know, Lake Erie is notorious for its algae blooms that it goes through in the summertime. All this wastewater going directly into it definitely doesn't help, which then affects the populations of the native species in there. But according to the company, their facility in Ohio has had very little effect on the river next to it as well as Lake Erie. Something that's even wild to say is that there is a specific amount of wastewater that is allowed to be dumped into these waterways. Guess how big that number is? According to the Ohio EPA, there is an average amount of permitted wastewater being discharged into waterways is 10 million gallons a day. Obviously, it's major to have a big company like this come out and acknowledge the fact that they did go over their limit. But there's also something very concerning to say that this is happening in broad daylight, not just specifically with this company in this state, all throughout the world. And it's happening in broad daylight. This took place over 6.5 years where they violated the Clean Water Act over 5,000 times.